His phone, okay.
3, 2, 1.
On Facebook are now with us on YouTube. Okay. Dove just saying we're live. Just bear with me for a second while I set this up nicely. So we've got the young male here, right to screen. He's got the remainder of the impala carcass. Oopsie, so just bear with me for a second. Okay, I think that's good for now. Okay, so Pete's just getting his YouTube, getting onto YouTube for the comments. We'll be there shortly, and then we'll start responding to your comments. And please just bear with us when the comments do come through thick and fast. We will try and get to them as quickly as possible. Thank you for joining us there, and welcome to Mala Mala Game Reserve. The Mala Mala Game Reserve is situated on the border of the Kruger National Park. We are wedged between the Sabi Sands Game Reserve and the Kruger National Park itself. If you are sitting at Skakuza on the deck having coffee, Skakuza is the main camp of the Kruger National Park. If you're sitting on the deck having coffee there looking over the river, we are pretty much to the north, on the opposite side of the river to Skakuza. There's a few kilometers between that river and the southern boundary of the Sabi Sands and then Mala Mala. Okay, do we have some people with us?
Yes, sure. So the chats are coming through. Haley, good to have you back with us. Pak Big Book, welcome. Linda from California, our biggest YouTube fan. Thank you, Linda, for joining us.
Karen Bianchini, welcome back. Dylan Morgan, welcome back.
So folks from all over the world here, Belgium, USA, England, Ireland. Okay, so for those of you who are just joining this live stream and who we were live streaming this sighting earlier on Facebook, so if you go into the latest sightings Facebook page, that live stream will be there as a viewable video. With some good footage of some feeding activity, because these lions have just killed an impala ram, which they're just feeding off the scraps now. The cub that's in the bottom right of screen, it's a 2-year-old cub. He is feeding off the head of the impala.
Then I know for some of you, you may see at the bottom of the screen streaming the Kampula Pride live from Mala Mala Game Reserve. I don't know if that shows up if you don't have a premium account, but for those of you that don't know which pride this is the Kampula Pride, and one of the Gari males is present.
Sliminum saying you're expecting to see some cute cubs. There are some cubs at this sighting. Some of them have, or most of them have actually passed probably what can be regarded as the cuteness stage. And those that are still cute, you know, when there's a carcass around, those little cute things become quite savage.
Karen Bianchini asking how big the impala was. It was an adult ram, so a full-grown male impala, as big as they get. Hi, Moz We Up from Mozambique, just next door. Welcome.
Can you see?
Yeah. Darkness Woman, I love this channel. Thank you, Darkness Woman, we appreciate that. We enjoy bringing you these live feeds. Assume you're talking about latest sightings. We also love latest sightings channel. If you want, we've also got a channel of our own, Mala Mala Game Reserve. Feel free to go have a look there for more lions.
Just to let you folks know who are joining for these live streams, we are teaming up with Kruger Sightings. So this platform is on Kruger Sightings, but we are representing Mala Mala Game Reserve in the eastern parts of South Africa. So all the live streams are coming to you from Mala Mala, where we are in lockdown. So they're really asking to mention, so Mala Mala in the eastern parts of South Africa, we basically border the Kruger National Park along its southwestern boundary.
Annie just asking if KG's here yet. I haven't seen KG yet, but welcome Mr. Schaefer from Durbanville. Pat Schaefer. We're not sure when the parks will be open again to tourists, but there are skeleton staff at most of the parks for the time being. Welcome back, Haley Loves Wildlife.
So Karen Bianchini asking how many veteran lionesses in this pride. Karen, the answer is none. All 6 lionesses that make up this pride are all relatively young. They're all just over 6 years old, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think they're more than 7, but yeah, they're all young lioness, well, relatively young adults.
Annette Lane, welcome. Annette comments very often on our Mala Mala YouTube channel. Olivia Kuhn asking where Mala Mala is. Olivia, Mala Mala borders the Kruger National Park, and it also borders the Sabi Sands Game Reserve. So we are wedged between the two, and there are no fences around Mala Mala, so the animals come and go as they please. And we're fortunate enough to have the length of the Sand River run down, or the Sand River run through the length of the property rather. So a lot of the animals from Kruger come to the Sand River from the east. A lot of the animals in the Sabi Sands come to the Sand River from the west.
Yeah, if you, after this live stream, if you want to go onto the internet and type in malamala.com, on our webpage there'll be a lot of information explaining exactly where we are.
Might go have a drink.
Yeah.
Seriously lol, hi from California, from Indonesia. Istanbul. Pat, my apologies, saying that you're a girl. Hi, Annie. Petra Murray Borsman back again. Thank you for joining us. From Spain.
Darcy H, we're delighted to hear that. We look forward to welcoming you to the magic of Mala Mala when our borders reopen again. Peter Nguli, yes, one of the juvenile lions is finishing off what's left of an impala, which they'd killed earlier this morning.
See, Nadav has put the Mala Mala link up there. Thanks, Nadav. Nadav is started Kruger Sightings, or later Sightings. So Stitch Cat's asking where the males are. So there's one Gari male currently with us. He's out of frame right now. We decided to put this young male with the remains of this impala carcass in screen, because if there's going to be any interaction, it's most likely going to be around this young male. But The Gari male looks like he's walked off to a water hole nearby. It looks like he's going to go drink some water. Yeah.
Yeah, so Rudy Hayward asking if it can be assumed that all 14 cubs are females. Okay, Rudy, so yeah, I can understand where it might get a bit confusing, where general lions will cubs that aren't their own, but the world kill those cubs. They probably won't even know.
Then Vera asking, hello guys, what time are you live and for how long? Pardon me, Vera, we don't know, we don't have a schedule as to when we'll be live. We can go live when we have cell phone coverage. The property has about 10% cell phone coverage. So when there are animals to live stream within that little portion of the property, then we go live. And the best way is to subscribe to Mala Mala's social media channels, as well as latest Sightings media channels. You can click the bell icon on YouTube. We try, but some.
Haley, thank you for answering one of our other questions there. Yeah, there are at least 6 male cubs in this, in these 5 litters.
Got folks from all over the world. It's so lovely to have you all with us, and we hope you can understand our accents. Karen Bianchini, I hope I'm saying it right. I don't know if it's Bianchini or Bianchini. What is the total count of this pride? There are 20 lions, 6 adult lionesses, and 14 cubs, and then very often with them are either 1 or 2 of the Gari males.
Excuse me for pronouncing your name wrong, but Nikunj Sheth, asking if this live streams will continue after lockdown ends, and our answer is that we will definitely be trying to do so.
Stish Cat's asking how big is the reserve. So Mala Mala itself is 13,300 hectares, and that consists of 5 farms. One farm is Marthley, one farm is Irefield, one farm is Mala Mala, Flockfield and Charleston. So that is 13,300 hectares. And then when we operate, we also have some other land that we're allowed to traverse on. And in total there's 16,600 hectares that we can game view on, but privately owned is 13,300.
And so first last, asking a question, I was actually wondering when this question would be asked, because there's quite a prominent feature of the screen you can see now. So first last is asking, what do you think stripped the bark off of that tree? So you can see that, well, the main tree in the picture, about halfway up there's a big reddish spot where indeed first last is correct, that bark has been stripped off. and that is something that elephants do. So I'm not sure if if you're viewing on a bigger screen, you can almost see what looks like scars on the tree. Those are from the elephant's tusk, as it dislodges the bark from the main trunk of the tree, and then it uses its trunk to strip it off. Basically what the elephant is going for is the cambium layer, which is basically where the tree transports its xylem and phloem up and down, and that's what elephants are after, that cambium layer.
I think let's just try and see where we are in terms of this. There's lots of comments. I'm not sure how far we've gotten through these comments. Just KG, welcome. Dizzy 1369, welcome back. This is the Kambula Pride. Have you seen the Nkumas lately? Darcy H, thank you very much. We appreciate that. Okay, I think we've gotten to the bottom of these comments here.
Stitch Cat's asking again, if you wish there were tiny elephants here. There are lots of tiny elephants, but if you want one, you're going to have to come get it yourself. Because all these tiny elephants have very big mummy elephants.
There's a little cub.
So Rudy asking a interesting question: are all the lions you have in the reserve born in the wild, or have they come from rescue programs? Rudy, so these lions are all very much born in the wild, and in fact in this area where we are now, with such a high population of predators, particularly lions, I highly doubt that any lion that has been in captivity will be able to be released back into this area. I don't think it will survive. But to answer your question, yeah, no, they're all wild-born lions, as all lions should be.
First, last, saying, do we get overheated staying there filming all day? Luckily, it is cooling down, but yes, sometimes we do get quite hot in the sun.
And when Gareth says it's cooling down, he doesn't mean today, he means in general. We are heading into winter, but it is starting to warm up.
Yeah, quite considerably now.
Yeah. But which is also a good thing, because after these lions have eaten, you can see they're not lying in any shade. So the hotter it gets, it means they're probably going to have to move. So you might probably see them getting up or walking a bit. Maybe they might go have a drink. And who knows what they find between here and the water.
Dizzy 1369, just to fill you in, these lions made an impala kill. Lion bottom right of screen, young male cub, is finishing off the remains of that impala ram. The Birmingham males, or Birmingham lion, someone asked a question about. We have one of the Gowrie males with us. He's also referred to as a Birmingham male. He is currently out of shot, but maybe we'll have another look at him in a little bit. Annette Lane, thank you very much. We appreciate that.
Just going through some of the questions here. Jacob, it's actually what you're seeing now is the cubs, not the females. So some of these cubs already are looking quite big. They are feeding off the remains of an impala, which the pride killed earlier this morning, an impala ram. David asking a very interesting question. Did Leonardo DiCaprio do a good South African accent in Blood Diamond? I actually don't think he was aiming for a South African accent. I think he was aiming for more of a Zimbabwean accent, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And he did actually do a pretty good job of a Zimbabwean accent.
Just also bear in mind there are very many different accents within South Africa and in Zimbabwe.
Yes, that is true. And Dizzy 1369, yep, we can always live in hope. Ahmed Saudi asking if you were to walk into these lions right now, would they attack you? So generally speaking, as a rule of thumb, most animals don't want to get involved in any physical confrontation. Normally their first reaction will be to run away, but that also depends on how close that danger is when it presents itself and what else is going on at the time. So this would not be a particularly good situation to test that theory in, because not only are there lionesses here who have cubs, but there's also food here, so the lions are feeding, so there is more for them to defend. So
for those sorry, Pete, carry on. Some of you were asking on the Facebook feed from earlier this morning whether there are any vultures around. Now we've just mentioned that it's starting to warm up here, and I see there are some vultures wheeling above us now. So,
one person.
and one has just landed in a tree nearby us.
So first last asking if lions and hyenas etc. eat the stomach content of their kids. That's all vegetation. And so Rudy Hayward asking a very interesting question. Do we have a lion related highlight or story to share in your time as rangers? I'm going to let Gareth go first. Put him on the spot.
Well, I think Pitt's put me on the spot, or made me go first, because he's got the more exciting one. I can't say that any particular one stands out, other than the more recent concerns. Currently in camp, we obviously don't have camp started, well, that came into camp every single night and learned how to force our window open in our house, and has gotten in once or twice, and yeah, we've just got to be quite wary of him in the house. But yeah, I think that's just fresh in my mind. But Pete's got a very exciting story.
You're referring to the wildebeest?
Yeah.
So, Rudy, I do have a couple of very exciting stories, but I might have to just get permission from my boss whether or not I could actually divulge some of that information. But if you do catch me on another live stream, please do ask again. We are fortunate here in that we do see on a very regular basis, so we see quite a few different prides of lions as well as different coalitions. So I mean, I've been a guide at Malo Malo for over 10 years, so there are, this is a non-answer, but there are there are many stories. Actually, one of my favorite moments was when pretty much 5 of these 6 lionesses in this pride, when they gave birth to these cubs. I mean, that was an incredible period where they were all denning in the Sand River along a within about a kilometer stretch of each other. And when they did eventually move the dens together, firstly, it's amazing just watching lionesses carry tiny cubs in their mouths from one den to another. And then when the cubs were meeting each other for the first time, brothers and sisters, seen lots of kills, lots of yeah. But there's other stories. Stay
tuned.
Yeah, I'll get back to you on that.
Maybe we'll do an episode on that. But I just, while Pete was speaking, I've thought about a very unusual sighting that I had here once. And that was 3 male lions killed a buffalo. And they were fat and sleeping next to the buffalo. There's still a lot of meat on the carcass. And very unusually, went to the sighting quite late morning, knowing that we'd see them sleeping. And came across 3 lions sleeping around a buffalo carcass, and the carcass was moving about, and a leopard popped its head out of the carcass. It was inside feeding. While we sat there, another leopard approached, and this is quite amazing in itself that these leopards would risk feeding off this carcass with these 3 big male lions around. And then another leopard approached, and then a 4th leopard approached, and it was a stable sighting for 3 game drives where there was these 3 male lions chasing 4 leopards off of the carcass. And there were about 6 or 7 hyena that were on the outskirts of the entire sighting. And it was just interesting to watch because the leopards were behaving more like hyenas than the hyenas were that day.
So folks, I'm just really going to just do a quick little blitz answering section here, just going through the questions that we've missed so far.
Welcome.
So if you are interested in coming here, he has a first-hand account of what it is to be a guest at Mala Mala. So first, last, I think we have answered this. I'll answer it again in case you missed it. Lions, hyenas and leopards will eat the stomach lining, but not the actual contents of their kills. Karen asking, do lions have any fear of vehicles? So you can see these lions do not, because they haven't as much as looked at us since we've been here. But it all depends on how accustomed they are to seeing vehicles. So there will be some lions who grow up in areas where there aren't many people. If they see a vehicle for the first time, they will either run away or charge it. But over time, and with the correct protocols, you can get them to accept the presence of vehicles in their lives.
Hung Mai saying, I support your channel, thank you. Both, I'm assuming you're talking about later sightings. Yeah, it's good to... Also thanks to Nadav who lets us stream on later sightings. If you'd like to see some of the animals that we see not within cell phone range, then please go and have a look at our Mala Mala YouTube channel.
First, last, just to answer your question again, I don't think it would make them sick. I'm sure they do happen to eat parts of it while they're tucking into the rest of the carcass, but
So Annie just saying, Rudy, you do know that neither of our guides have Afrikaans accents. Pieter.
But I'm also from Zambia, so there's a whole mix going on here.
So Pieter speaks a few languages: Afrikaans, English, Turkish, and what is it, Tsonga?
Tonga.
Tsonga. So his accent would be very varied, I guess. Your son is going to have an interesting accent when he can eventually speak.
So David Tallis asking an interesting question. We obviously all love lions. Are there any animals or birds that you dislike?
Egyptian geese.
Yeah. Egyptian geese and hardidars are 2 types of birds that we do view in these natural areas, but you also find them in cities. But they are most annoying on a golf course when you're halfway through your backswing. As rangers, and I am going to say this is, please take this as for what it is. It's more of a joke than actually being serious. But most rangers, especially here, are not the biggest fans of giraffes. And the reason for that is, so the giraffe is actually the most photographed animal in the Kruger National Park. And you can imagine why. It's a very uniquely African animal. You don't get them anywhere else in the world. But from a guide's perspective, we often, we hear on the radio, oh, there's a pride of lions that are hunting buffalo, and we're trying to get to them. Invariably, there will be giraffes on the way, and people will want to stop and take photos of the giraffes, who are doing absolutely nothing. We're just standing there and eating. And while you're sitting
listening to madness happen on the radio.
Yeah, you're watching giraffes just being boring, and lions and buffaloes are having this dramatic interaction. And Delani Banda, you're quite right, Mr. Banda. Vultures wouldn't dare feast at the moment, especially with so many cubs around. Cubs would be quite playful. They'll probably they might even try and catch a vulture.
Mia or Maya, just let us know if it's Mia or Maya, option 1 or option 2. Welcome back, Mia Ferreira. And Ellen Faye, welcome. See those come up. So Peter's usually on the Facebook. Thank you very much, Stitch Cats. We appreciate that. We are slowly getting through these comments. On Facebook, it's quite easy because the comments appear on the screen, and Pete's has, I guess, streamed more on Facebook than on YouTube, and is slowly scrolling through these comments. So we are getting to the more recent comments. But yeah, we are trying to answer these.
So Darcy H, very interesting question. Have you ever seen lion give birth in the wild? As far as I know, there's only been one occasion where it's actually been filmed of a lioness giving birth in the wild, and that did happen on Mala Mala Game Reserve. It was filmed by a ranger called Graham Dyer, and I'm not sure where you could be able to access that video, but it might be somewhere on YouTube. But it was definitely a couple, maybe at least 15-20 years ago.
Yeah. So this is the accents thing is. So people are discussing the accents here. It was recently, the Afrikaans accent was recently voted the sexiest in the world. Huh?
Rightfully so, Gareth. Rightfully so.
Yeah.
Haley is saying, I want to go to Mala Mala. Haley, we want you to come visit us. And everyone watching, we'd love for you to, well, whether it's Mala Mala or any other game reserve, when travel opens up again, conservation at the moment relies very heavily on tourism. So, when you are all able to, please do start traveling again. Obviously when it's safe to do so.
David Talis, don't know if we're pronouncing your name well. But yeah, thank you very much, we appreciate that. Which coalition were those 3 males, Gareth? Which 3 males? Who's asking that? Blaise and Claire. Sure, you're gonna have to just the 3 males that came on. Okay, sorry, we're going back now. We're slowly getting through these comments. We're not sure, and that's one of the exciting things about working here at Mala Mala. We have all these prides of lions and leopards that we are used to. But every now and then, this coalition, we have no idea who they are. They must have come in from Kruger National Park. There are some very big blocks of land in Kruger. And, we do get it. can see it. We do get animals coming onto the property who we are not familiar with.
Bharat, sorry, a couple of questions you've asked now we haven't responded to, but you're asking, you say there's no hyenas or jackals. Yeah, that's mostly because it's what they killed was an impala and they haven't been feeding on it for long. So they could have, so the hyenas, for example, need to be within earshot of a kill when it happens to track it down, or they can smell it, but normally the meat only starts smelling after a while. But it is very possible for hyenas and jackals, they might have come, we might not have seen them, they would have taken one look at this many lions and decided against it.
Annette Lane, thank you very much. We appreciate that. We're slowly working our way down these comments. I think we should maybe just go to the bottom to see how far we are from the more recent ones. Sure, we are quite far. Okay, there we go. So not that far.
I think Gareth has overreacted.
Sorry, Peter's now lost on the comments because I scrolled down to see where we were. Yeah, we're back live now, folks. Sorry about that break in transmission. It is starting to heat up here, and my phone just gave me starting to warm up here. The color of the cell phone is black, so it heats up very quickly. And yeah, I'm just covering it with my hat now so that we can continue viewing. Hopefully it doesn't overheat again.
Try and reposition.
Yeah, I think there's not all that much happening. We're going to try and find a little shady spot here, folks.
Let me just do a quick question answering, a little blitz round.
Peter's blitz round is very slow.
They call me Quick Pete, Gareth.
Quick Peter.
Dizzy 1369, what excited them? I'm not sure. I think that one of them might have heard something and then jumped, and the others didn't. They just reacted immediately. I think just one of them thought that it had heard something, and the rest just reacted in unison. Peter Lai, thank you very much. Cool channel.
So there are a lot of vultures that are now starting to land on these trees around us, and perhaps one landed and made a noise, and the rest of them got a fright.
Rudy, would a lioness ever snap or scare off a male lion? Most definitely so. We actually have seen these lionesses attack these males. So yeah, the male lions aren't completely in control all of the time. Domingo Johnson. Sorry, Domingo, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Domingo Johnson. How old are you, Domingo, and where are you?
And that's if there are any other children out there, let it be known that we really enjoy the young viewers, and we enjoy your questions as well.
So Stitch Cats, we're going to answer your question once we go park in the shade to get Gareth's phone out of direct sunlight.
Where's the phone umbrella? Well, I've taken the hat off of my head, so now my head is overheating, and I'm covering the phone with my hat. So if I start talking nonsense, that's the reason.
Domingo Johnson, we're glad to hear it. Domingo, have you ever seen a lion, whether it's in the wild or in a zoo? Alright folks, just excuse us for 5 minutes. We're just going to try and reposition our vehicle so we're definitely doing it for the camera, not for ourselves.
Yeah.
I'm thinking one of these spots here.
Yeah, I think so.
I have to go backwards.
Yep. Just remember there's that log behind you. Okay, so just to give you an idea of where the one Gari male has gone, there's a road right in front of us there. We can't get there because of this big log in our way. But he's walked towards that tree center of screen. There's a watering hole behind there. And Pete, maybe should we just go and have a look there quick, see if we can see him before we return? Since we're driving, we are going to maybe just go and see if we can see where he's. My guess is that he's lying in the shade next to the water hole there somewhere. But we'll just go and have a look, see if we can see him, so we can at least show those of you who arrived a little bit later and did not get to see him. For the most part, he has been feeding on this impala carcass. And when he got full, he left it, and there was a bit of a squabble as to who was going to get the remains. And it looks like one of the young male cubs got the lion's share there. So I think for this section, maybe if you just want to slow down in the comments, because we are not currently looking at them, and then once we have stopped driving, we can have a good look at the comments again. There he is. Okay, so he is lying in the shade. Okay, so the water hole is where I'm pointing my camera now. So I don't know whether he's gone to drink and come back, but he's certainly lying in the shade. And just to show you some vultures in the distant tree there. They are starting to land now, and it is usually those vultures that are in this tree, center of screen, are hooded vultures. It's difficult for you to see that, but you're just going to have to take my word for it. And they're usually the first on the scene. I'm just going to show you the Gari male. Let me switch over a little bit here. Okay.
Let me just quickly catch up on some questions here. So Haley, there you go. Here's one male. Blair, do we know where the other male is? We don't at the moment, but not all of the lionesses in the cubs are here, so I'm assuming he's probably with them. Enjoy your coffee. Gunner Dread, have any rival males attempted to take over this pride? Not recently. When they first these 6 lionesses broke away from their original pride, and started to establish themselves as a pride, there were about 5 different coalitions competing for them, and these are the males who came out tops.
And there was a question on our YouTube channel just asking whether the Avoca males, I think they're referring to the northern Avoca males, are larger than the Gari males. I'd say that the Gari males are larger at this point.
Even both they're larger than both of the both northern and the southern Avoca males. Eve McCaffrey, welcome back. You've missed our live, sorry. We have tried. We do try to go live every day, but such is the nature of our mobile network reception out here that although we do have sightings every day and we're seeing lions and leopards every day, we're just not always in a position to film them because of our mobile network coverage. But you can watch those episodes as part of our Rangers in Isolation series on the Mala Mala Game Reserve YouTube channel.
And you have a look at this lion lying down on his side now. You can see how big his belly is. Looks like he definitely got most of that impala.
Darcy asking, which coalitions have you had in Mala Mala? Darcy, so our history goes back a very long way. So we've had many coalitions. Probably the most famous coalitions were colloquially known as the Mapocho. We called them the Mlawati males. They were born into the Eiffel Pride, so they were born and raised on Mala Mala Game Reserve. And I think they left as a period when they became nomadic, but returned as dominant males and became quite notorious for the ruthlessness in which they went about their business of becoming dominant and staying dominant. And we've then also had the West Street males, the roller coaster male, the Manyaleti males, also known as the Majingalani, the Clarendon males, also known as the Matimbas. So these Gari males, also known as the Birmingham males, the Avoca males, the Machapiri males. Yeah, so it's a long list. Domingo asking what's the biggest lion I have ever seen. Domingo, so the male you're looking at now is definitely a big lion, but the biggest female lion that I've ever seen, and I'm going to choose her because she is probably the biggest lioness in this whole area, maybe even in this whole province. But she was one of the last remaining Eyefield lioness. If you go onto Instagram and you type in the hashtag Eyefield Pride, that's EYRE Field Pride, you'll get photos of her. She is a massive lioness.
And that is the pride that the Mapochos were born into, that Peter's just mentioned.
Yes. So while this lion is doing what lions do, should maybe go
back there.
Go back there.
Yeah, because we are still sitting in the sun.
Yeah. Folks, we're going to move again. Hope you enjoyed that brief glimpse of this male. But yeah, we need to get Gareth's phone into some shade. That's our excuse.
Say what? So most of these bigger trees that you can see in screen here are called knob thorns. And we spoke a little bit earlier about giraffes. Giraffes love feeding on these trees, as do all other browsers. Yeah, but you can see a lot of them have been ring-barked. So a lot of these dead trees you see around here are also old knob thorns that have been ring-barked by elephants and have subsequently died. These lions have stolen our shade here as well. Peter, I think I'm just going to have to use my hat. Sit. Let's have a look. Yeah. That's okay, I'll just use my hat again. Don't put some cream on this one.
Right, folks, so back to some of the questions.
Okay, now you're looking at some flat lines here.
So Arjuna, yes, that as I think coincidentally Gareth just explained that damage you see on the trees is from elephants. It is part of their job. So I'm not saying for your comment in particular, but generally people are very quick to label what elephants do as distraction, but it's more, they are industrial landscapers. They play a very important role in
Bush clearing.
Yeah, bush clearing. If it wasn't for them, this whole place would be a forest. And they create these savannas, these open areas. Obviously, there's a debate as to what is too many elephants, but I think we're good here for now. Gareth, interesting question from Karen. Can a lion overeat? Like, I know puppies can overeat.
Well, yeah, I heard, who was it, Peter, was it you or Mike? Maybe, I think it might have been Mike who told me a story about a lion that was feeding on some or other carcass. And this is the only story I've heard like this. But one of our rangers here, Gordon Fordyce, was filming it. And this lioness was feeding and then got to the point where she had to turn her head, throw her up, make a little bit of room to continue. Thing and then continued eating midway through eating.
Yeah, I think they can. They'll eat what they can when they can.
Yeah.
But up until a point, then they'll have to rest and digest before they start again.
And that's just because they never know when their next meal is going to be. Not every hunt ends in success. In fact, very few hunts end in success. So they've got to make sure if there is food around that they get their fair share.
So Kampong Boy asking, do lions acknowledge your voice, or do they hear it see it as part of their environment, like a natural noise, like wind and leaves? Interesting question. So I think when we're in these vehicles like this, everything that we say, every smell that emit from us, all the vehicles, the lions see us and the vehicle as one thing. They don't actually see humans in a vehicle. So whether or not they can recognize individual voices, I'm quite sure they have the ability to do so. But I'm not sure if that is the case here, where there are quite a few different ranges, and we often have guests on our vehicles. So I definitely think they are, but
if you think about just domestic pets, dogs and the like, they do respond to their owners and certain people. So I'd imagine that these, like Pete says, these lions have the capability, but hard to test it is a different story.
Gareth, are you going to go play fetch with a bone over there? Maybe?
No, thanks.
Stitch cats, yes, the northern and southern Avoca males are related. They're from the same pride, but the southern Avoca males left the pride earlier. They are older.
Sorry, just a readjustment quick.
So Gunner Dread asking, may Gareth can answer, is that male lion
A big male lion like that? I think, if elephants had to come across him, they kind of chase him out. The large coalition were to come in and disturb him while you're sleeping there. But these lions have been vocalizing, and they have been walking around, roaring, making their presence felt. And to our knowledge, there aren't any coalitions that are about to take over the Gari male's territory just yet. So there's not much that can bother him.
David Talis asking again, if the Mapocho were the most ferocious lions that we've heard in Mala. Yes, I think majestic and lionistic might be debatable, but I would definitely say in recent memory they have been the most ruthless.
What is that documentary about them?
Yes, that's a good point, Gareth. I'm not sure if maybe Nadav can find and post a link here, but there's a very good documentary called Brothers in Blood that was filmed by a company called Lion Mountain Media, and most of that was filmed on Mala Mala Game Reserve. Well, a fair amount of it at least. So, David, I'm sure you have watched that, but if you haven't, I definitely recommend it. And for all those who want to watch a documentary on this infamous pride coalition of males, check out Brothers in Blood.
And then, I don't know if it was David who asked earlier about memorable lion sightings. I was at one of those sightings on that documentary where the Mapochos tried to take over the Styx pride. Unfortunately, they didn't capture the whole interaction. But yeah, it was certainly one of the most high adrenaline sightings I've been at.
And that happened quite a while ago, so Gareth is giving away his age here. Mia Ferreira, yes, there are lots of impala, giraffe and wildebeest in the Kruger, as there are here in Mala Mala as well. It's just with so many lions around us at the moment, those animals are keeping a bit of a distance. Randy Perkins asking if you can zoom a little bit further in, Gareth, just for a quick count maybe of the lions you can see now.
Well, let's see. It's quite difficult to see the screen with the glare of the sun on it, but I'm going to try. Okay, so there's a couple of standing up now, but left of screen, top left, behind this lion that's sort of sitting up or standing up, is one of the young males that is feeding on well, there's a few lying down at its feet there actually. And apparently yeah, I think that's all that I can see from this position. I'm just going to go back to that young male there. Maybe zoom in a little bit on him. He's doesn't like the fact that that other lioness has stood up so close to him while he's got a mouthful of food. See, he's flattened his ears. Just warning her not to come closer. Okay, zoom out again.
Elaine Vallis, well remembered, as the lioness returned to the pride who's in season. It's difficult to see the male. So there is one lioness here who does not have cubs, and she has been mating for years now. We don't think she has the ability to fall pregnant. The mother of the oldest litter has started mating again, and I think that's who Elaine is referring to. So maybe they are both with that male at the moment.
So there's one lion feeding on one of the impala legs in the foreground, and it's trying to crack through those bones. You can probably hear it. and they're mostly after the bone marrow inside there, so they'll crunch through all the bones that they can to get hold of that very nutrient rich bone marrow, that very fatty, got lots of fat and protein in it.
Arjuna, thank you very much for that glowing review / recommendation.
And I know a lot of our viewers do enjoy keeping up with the different prides of lions and the different leopards. Some of you may know them from other social media channels. If you do want to see which animals do occur on our property, go to our website, is our game reports. Yeah. So then that is a record of all of our sightings, and you can see what animals are present and who's doing what there.
Tupac, do lions have a particular season to mate? No, they do not, but births do tend to peak around the dry season, our winter months, because it's slightly easier hunting conditions. So I'm catching up all these messages, but Annie, we are live, so hi to Tristan. KG1, glad you enjoyed, hope you enjoyed your coffee. The RCH, it was indeed a fantastic documentary about the Mapojos. Alan Fay asking if lions are favorite big cats or just the easiest to see in film.
Definitely the easiest to...
We are using our cell phones to live stream with leopards, and we have live streamed with wild dogs.
The wild dogs, once they get...
Blaise Claire asking if those two lionesses are the only members not here. So those two lionesses are male, and I'm not sure if he's still alive.
I think so. I'm sitting in the... I've got it in my shade now, so it should be.
If anyone can just tell us, Etik Boxen saying it's buffering. If anyone else experiencing issues? Also because it's getting quite hot, and we have moved a bit, and the cell phone signal here does appear to be a little bit worse than where we were earlier.
Yeah, I think should we maybe get close to calling it?
Yeah, I think so.
Folks, if you can hear us, we are going to call it a day shortly. It looks like these lines are all going to be flat out soon. Streaming first of all on Facebook, on Later Sightings Facebook's page. So if you want to see what happened earlier this morning, please go there. There's a little bit more interaction than you're currently seeing. And thanks again to Nadav, who's been very helpful along the way in this process with us rangers. And yeah, I think just get this off so you can see the voices behind the camera. Just Pete, there we go.
Hope you enjoyed the live stream, folks. And then until next time, stay safe. Take care of each other.
And then from myself, thank you again for all of your support. We'll see you next time.